And we're starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Epstein Files Review, episode 23. As always, if you're under the age of 18, we're going to have to ask you to leave because this is an 18 and up channel. And with that being said, we're going to jump right back down the rabbit hole. We're going to start with a recap, as always, of our last file, which was file 2200, which was this hallway here with the entrance door to this villa. If you want to look into this more, you're going to have to go back to episode 21 or episode 20, where we spoke about that in length. Moving right along, let's get into it. Okay, so here's that door. I guess you won't have to go back to the last episode or the one before it. Here's that door that we saw leading into that hall there. The cabinets, looks like they opened them because they weren't opened when they first showed this file cabinet. Nothing of real importance there, so we're going to move right along. Hope everybody's having a good day. All right, so here is a view of the outside of that door. So we start as we always do. Like I said, the files are in order. Another wide view of that door, where you get a lot of just the out. Oh, we got another photo board here. The view of the structures of the buildings, the rooms, and things like that. But what we're really here for, as we all know, or we should know by now, are those documents and anything peculiar that warrants investigation. We're not here to look at chairs, so when it comes to those files, we're just going to briefly skip through them, but we do have to go through them for the sake of transparency. August 12th, 2019. It's a little sun-washed Zone B. Okay, so this is a different location. Of course, they've blocked out the photographer. Moving right along. All right, so we got a better look at that case ID number on this clipboard here. So I'm assuming we're moving to another area. Okay, so this looks like some sort of compound. This isn't the same structure that we've seen. There's a door open there. We zoom out. There's a lot of side buildings on this little St. James property. I notice we're getting some trolls now, so we must be hitting some nerves. There's a lot of people that I'm sure are instructed to basically come in and try to hinder what it is we're doing. It must be having an effect because we've got random people coming in making dumb comments. We will be deleting all of them. But for the rest of you guys that are actually here for investigative purposes, that have been putting meaningful information in the comments section, things for us to reference or things that we didn't point out or that we should look further into, I appreciate you guys. So let's get into this. All right, so this looks like they were building another structure. We did see some building plans on one of the desks. Looks like he's got a water supply there. Maybe that's gas. So they were possibly building something here. It looks like a foundation. Definitely plenty of space to build something. All right, I don't know if they were starting a wall here. You could see the water there. Moving right along. All right, another view of this open space here. All right, so this is the side of this structure. Looks to be at least 10 feet tall, 10 to 20 feet. All right, so here, so just looking at this side wall here, this green wall, I was looking for the word accent wall. Was a lost for words there. This green accent wall, you could tell if we go back to the previous file that we were just trying to figure out, I can come to the determination, you see this green wall here, that they were most likely building another one of those structures. But not to get back too far, let's get back to where we were. I believe it was 2212, but we're just going to look at 2011. just to be sure. Like I said, we don't want to miss any files. Okay, so yeah, they were most likely building another one of these buildings, and these are big structures here too. What was he building these for? Who knows? Were these holding facilities for people he was trafficking? Not sure, but you can see the size and how wide these doors are. This was going to be a pretty big structure here. So let's see what's inside if we can. All right, they've opened one of the doors. All right, so we're inside. You've got one of those little Jeep things that you've been seeing around the property there. The little golf carts. It's a very dark photo, but you got a whole fleet. So maybe this is just like a giant garage facility that he was building to store his equipment. It said EV on the side. Those might be electrical. All right, here's another angle of that. You see those chairs that were stacked up in some of the rooms. So this might just be another storage area or converted storage area that Epstein was using. All right, so this looks like almost like a maintenance area, or maybe the people that worked on the facility, maybe this is where they normally were. We're 20% through today's episode. It's another closer look at this Ranger EV. Looks like one of them might be getting charged here. All right, another view of this. And like I said, if it doesn't have any real pertinence, we're not going to spend too much time on it. We're just going to keep moving along. We've got some boxes here. Let's see if we can see what's in there. Got a four-wheeler there. Looks like some hoses, perhaps, or something that goes under a sink. All right, some more of those bikes. More storage stuff there in the corner. All right, some stacked chairs, signs. It's funny, it says no trespassing. They're on an island in the middle of the ocean, so I don't know. I guess if you had a ski-doo and you were on an island close by, perhaps you can make it to the island, but I'm sure it's very unlikely that that would happen. There's those chairs and those vehicles again. We're 25% through today's episode. Another view of the front of those vehicles. Like I said, we're minors. All the files aren't going to be the most exciting all the time, but we do have to get through all of them to get to the good stuff. All right, here's another side view of that cluttered area. All right, some more stacked chairs there, moving right along. Another angle of those chairs, and you can see that electrical equipment. It's all over the place. This looks like it might be audio equipment. Maybe this is for wiring, for wiretaps or something like that. I'm not sure. All right, we are 30% through today's episode. All right, some random stuff here. You got some garbage bags stacked pretty high. We don't know if those are leaves in there or something incriminating. You would think we'd have pictures of all of that stuff being open, but there's a ski-doo. We were just talking about those. Some more furniture there. Here's another side view. Random stuff here. All right, we got the exit. I don't know what this is. Doesn't seem like it's a vault of any kind, but it does look heavy. It's on a pallet, which means it probably had to be forklift in. All right, here's another side view. He's got a generator there. Some sofas, outdoor sofas. Another side view of the ski-doo. You got something back here. I don't know if this is some sort of electrical box. Some pipes there, suitcases. At this point, we don't know if this is Epstein's suitcase because, as we saw in the last episode, there's a lot of strange stuff going on. People's personal belongings and debit cards and social security cards. All right, you got some sort of gas tank there. That's my thought. All right, you got some exercise equipment there. Those look like treadmills. All right, I don't know what these are. Oh, these are some sort of pipes. You got those couches in the background. We are 40% through today's episode. This is like a duplicate photo. We just saw this one. A lot of stuff thrown in here just to throw us off. Exercise equipment. You got some medicine balls there, workout balls. Oh, went too far. All right, there's another look at those treadmills and elliptical machines. Stairmaster, whatever that was. All right, so here's a back angle. You've got some pipes here, those couch things, the luggage, that big box, that gas thing there. Nothing too crazy there. Moving right along. Another look at this exercise equipment here. All right, another side angle of that equipment. Got that gas thing in the back. All right, same picture, different angle. All right, missing fire extinguisher. This is side view of the same room. And the door. Are we leaving this area? It doesn't seem like there's anything of real importance in here. All right, we've got some, I don't know what that is. Can't really see in there, but it looks like random stuff. This looks like one of those doors right there to an air dock. All right, we are 50% through today's episode. Haven't struck oil, but okay, we got some boxes here. I wonder if we're going to get some pictures of them opening those boxes. That would be ideal. Door in the boxes there. More stacked boxes. So it's just random stuff here. We're just going to glide right through this. Another shot of that same picture there. Moving right along. All right, so here's this double door exit here. You got that generator, open door in those boxes. So this is just a different angle. That same area. Another angle of those boxes. So this is all just maintenance equipment. All right, there's those double doors again. And take a sip of my coffee. All right, so this door is open here. It's got more totes. Let's see if we can read one of them. It says printer something. So this is just random junk that he's got laying around. We were right. That's another one of those air dock covers. Another angle of that same shot. Somebody mentioned in the comment section that there's really no order to it. They just kind of threw everything together, and they alluded that that may have been done intentionally. I'm thinking the exact same thing. But we're going to do our due diligence because I'm assuming the average person, after seeing, 5-10 minutes of this kind of footage, most people would say, oh, there's nothing here. And then they would just basically log off. That's what I'm assuming they hoped we would do. But as we already know, just looking at the last, 20 plus episodes, there's clearly a lot to be discussed. All right, so here's another double door, some more equipment. They're just hidden gems in this layer of hay. We're looking for the needles. So this would be all considered hay as far as I'm concerned. All insulation to protect the truth from being exposed. So this is labeled B. Here's that same area with that air duct cover or vent cover, whatever you want to call it. All right, another angle of that same room. Got these chairs there. All right, we got some boxes, so we've made it in this room, and some random chairs. Yeah, so this is just storage, just lots of junk laying around. It's got some chandeliers here, just random stuff. And like I said, for the sake of viewing every single file, we have to look at these. Now there's another atmospheric picture. This looks like space, or this is Earth. I don't know what that is. If that's a plane or a flying saucer of some kind. Not sure. All right, here's some bags. These bags look like they're labeled. It's upside down. Let's see if we can see what that says. Or did I just make it upside down now? I think it says theater room. So this must be something for the theater room. Yeah, this says theater. Had to read it upside down for a second there. All right, so we've got some more boxes here, more equipment. We don't know if that's surveillance. What's that company? Does that say North Pole? And it's labeled as usual. Can't really zoom in because this picture's taken a good, I'd say, 8 feet away from that box. I doubt the photographer is going to climb over all of that stuff to get a closer picture, or maybe he does. Let's see. I still can't make it out. But clearly you got Ethernet cables and all kinds of wires and things like that. Some bird cages. We are 70% through today's episode. All right, more storage stuff. All right, so I thought this was a stain for a second. It might be a map of the world, perhaps? No, that could just be grease on there. But yeah, there's just random stuff. You got a fan there. All random storage stuff. But the good thing is we're getting through these files. So this is actually the chandelier for this room. And just random stuff. Or maybe he was just hanging it for the time being. Maybe that was going to be put in another room. Here's a closer look at that painting. I still can't make out what this thing is here, but it's definitely above the clouds. He loves clouds. This says solar dock light. So this is just random stuff that he uses around the house as far as repairs and maintenance. All right, we got a painting. It's funny how this frame acts as a redaction in its own right, but looks like a woman. There's another woman behind him. Behind her, you can't really make out the rest of the picture. Some trees. You see some surveillance equipment in the background. We are 75% through today's episode. Who knows? Maybe we'll find something interesting in this storage equipment. It almost looks like a Home Depot. He's got random fans. He's even got the same shelves as Home Depot. All right, you got a bunch of vests, I'm assuming for the ski-doo. So this is just random equipment, bunch of picture frames. We know he loves pictures. All right, random things there. All right, random furniture there. Looks like some floor lamps. As you can see, we're just breezing through today's episode because there's nothing really of substance here. More storage stuff. I mean, we're 80% through. We're at 20 minutes. Haven't seen anything too exciting, but like I said, for transparency, we're going through all the files. So I'm going to make these as painless as possible. Assorted fans. So he's got these labeled. All right, more stuff. He's got a mattress laying there. Same picture, different angle. All right, we got some random boxes here. Like I said, there's really nothing to describe in these photos. It's just random stuff. It doesn't have any pertinence to our investigation. Here's a wide look through this door of this room here. So we're just going to just push through. And who knows, maybe this will make a turn and we'll see some things that need to be reviewed. Got some cables here. He always has these lockers. These look like storage lockers. I'm wondering if they're going to open these. But yeah, this just looks like a maintenance facility. I doubt that Jeffrey even spent a lot of time in this area. Moving right along. So this would be more for his maintenance workers and things like that. Got a ladder. All right, so here is that locker or whatever you want to call it. It's open. It looks like it's just got more random stuff inside of there. We are 90% through today's episode. All right, there's that ladder, brooms, some pipes here. Yeah, this is just a maintenance area. So they were probably using this to store all of the stuff that they were going to put in that that building that they were working on. Ladder. There's that little cabinet there, storage locker, wide view, same area. All right, it's got random cables and things like that. Little mini fridge, microwaves, probably for the workers. Yeah, so it looks like this episode might be a lot of hay. We got a dark picture there, but I'm sure there's some gems on the way. Gonna find that needle. Another wide angle of that same area. Looks like a working area. They got a little bench there. Some rope. Close up of the rope. Yeah, this is all the filler. It's got a random picture of Mona Lisa in here. Just random stuff. And the last file for this episode, file 2300, is another view of this workbench here. So a whole lot of filler in today's episode, but like I said, we had to work our way through these 100 files. With that being said, I appreciate all of you guys for mulling through these 3 million files, which I will get through as promised. So it's not the most exciting this episode, but at least that's 100 files that we don't have to go through again. And hopefully we've got something more substance in the next episode, which will be episode 24, where we will be going through files 2300 through 2400. I appreciate all the comments, all of the subscriptions, the tens of thousands of views, all the analytics and breakdowns that you guys have been putting in the comments section. I've been engaging with you guys, having conversations, and a lot of you guys are getting really intricate with it. I'm also going to put up that revised episode 3 with sound, so look for that. That should be out today. And with that being said, I'm not going to hold you any longer. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next episode where we hope to find some gems. Take care.